Hey there, I'm so excited. So people think PR is such a glamorous field and that it is just so easy. We just snap our fingers, we wave a magic wand like this, and we're like the fairy media godmothers and put you on Oprah, okay? Well, we're going to go behind the scenes today with my PR bestie, Karen Dumas, because I've known her for 10, 15, 20, 30, 30, no, not that long, but for a very long time. And we're going to talk a little bit about what the PR game is all about and how it has changed and where it's going and how not to get on, I'm going to just say this, your publicist's nerves. Okay. How about that? Okay. So that you can always just shine bright like a diamond. All right. So I'm going to bring up Karen right after this.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there, hey there. Hey, Karen. So I told them a little bit about you, about how I know you, but I know you're modest, but I want to let everybody know that Karen Dumas is the GOAT. Okay. She's a GOAT communication professional excellente. And in terms of her career, she's had her company for a while, Images and Ideas. She started when she was like 20, less than 20 years old, right? Almost about 20 years old, but she has been the chief communications and external affairs for the mayor of Detroit. She's done that. She's worked with several political campaigns. Started out, I believe, in Highland Park with the Blackwells, I believe.
It was a Martha Scott.
It was under Martha Scott. And then did you work for the Blackwells? I know you're good friends with one of the Blackwells.
I'm good friends with the Blackwells, and I worked with him in a different capacity when Art was chair of the Wayne County Commission.
Yes. And she's worked with, a lot of people know she worked with Mason for many years, helped shape his career. He's still going, right? He's still going. She has done a lot with a lot of nonprofits, a lot of behind the scenes that you may not know. She's really good at crisis communication. So I do PR for authors and speakers, but I don't do crisis communications. I run from crisis communication. But Karen is a gold in that. And she really does help people with the strategic communications of how to get the messaging out and how to maneuver the media. But besides all the PR things that she does, she's also a media personality. So she's had radio shows. And we were talking about that for many years, where she was on 1200 when it was owned by Bell Broadcasting. She was on 1200 AM when it was owned by Radio One. She was with the Word Network. I think that was 950, 910. And she did an excellent job in that. And she's been on television. She's still doing that, where she does that. She writes a column. She started out writing a column for the Michigan Chronicle, which is in a book called
In Other Words.
In Other Words. Yes, you did that for many years. And so that's in a book. That's on Amazon, I believe. I think it's still on Amazon.
That's been a long time ago. I don't even know if there are any more. I still got a
drawer. Amazon around? No,
yeah.
Amazon was around, but in other words, I still have my copy. And then also too, she writes for the Detroit News as well. So she's in the media. She as a strategic communications about media. She's worked with politics and PR and people in between. And I'm so glad to call her a friend, because I remember the very first time I talked to Karen. This is why I love Karen. She's a straight shooter. And I remember I called her. I was working in radio at the time. And I called her about Blacks in advertising, radio, and television. And she was like, I don't have time. Just tell me, I don't have time for that mess. It was like, what kind of group? What is this? And I just explained to her, I said, it's not going to be cliquish. It is really, we're trying to make a difference. We're trying to uplift those that are Black and advertising, radio, and television, this and that. And finally, she came along, and she did. She was one of the biggest supporters. You were one of the biggest supporters of that. And then I remember you also had another client, Karen, Smirnoff.
Oh I forgot about it. Yep.
Oh my God, Smirnoff.
It was actually Hugh Blind. So it was the parent company
Yes.
that was a client. Yeah, they were out of Connecticut. I forgot about that.
How
Yeah.
could I forget about it? Because the Smirnoff man was Mark Perry. I
Yep.
had to force him to do the it was a pageant. It was a man's
It
pageant, so to
was, and
speak.
it was huge though. We gave away $10,000, I think was the top prize.
Yes.
And it was
A
to
full
help
wardrobe
promote, yep, from Van Dyke's. Yep.
yes.
And they were, and I remember David Ross and his dad, they were very, very supportive. That was different when everything kind of felt like there was some synergy and connectivity,
Yeah.
a little stronger in our community then. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Good memory, Pam.
Yeah, you did some of them at Orthea's place. That was one of the
Yep.
runoffs. And then the final one was at Cobo Hall where Mark won and he
Yep.
had that was
We
before
had
social media. I wish you would
all
have
of
had
that.
that footage on social media.
And remember Club Penta? We used to do a lot of stuff
Yes,
down
we
there.
did. Oh my God, we did. I
Yep.
think you had your baby shower at Club Penta, girl.
I sure did. I sure did. And somebody reminded me of this the other day. They said, Karen, you had the first
Co-ed.
co-ed baby shower,
You
and
did.
Mason was the host.
Mhm.
Mike Bonner was the entertainment. We had
Yes.
it catered. We had it. I mean, it was because I hate baby showers, people playing those dumb games. And
Oh,
I
I
was
do
like, I'm
too.
not doing that. So we had a completely different, people were given
It was.
champagne when they walked in. So yeah, you got a good memory, Pam. You bring it
I
back.
remember. I remember my friend's stuff. I
I
was like,
see.
that is why we go way back. And then there was a period of time where we were doing seminars and things like that, and you would
Mhm.
support us for that. Me and Portia, we would do seminars, and you would come for that. I mean, just a lot. When you wrote for the Michigan Chronicle, if I would pitch you, you would try to fit things in, or I pitch you for the Detroit News, you would try, and you would say it has to make sense. So that's kind of like what we're going to talk about
Mhm.
today. Like,
Okay.
even though you may know people in the media, you can't just pitch them anything. It
Right.
has to fit and it has to be strategic, which is what really Karen is all about. So, Karen, my first question to you is like, why did you pick this field that you love? Obviously, you've been in it for a long time and it's changed. You've changed, and gotten
Mhm.
more in other areas. But why was this area just like a natural path for
I'm
you?
going to be perfectly honest with you. When I was at Michigan State, I had the idea for images and ideas. I actually wrote it down, and if I dug through all this stuff, I could find it somewhere. But I realized that people weren't necessarily conscious about the impact of how they presented themselves and their business, the impact that it had on their bottom line. I said, people aren't thinking about things like how they're answering the phone. What does their logo look like? I mean, the whole presentation thing. And I actually
Mhm.
just started writing notes. Now, on the back end, I've always been a very strong writer. I've always loved the written and the spoken word. So my communication skills were always great. And I used to write term papers, love letters. I used to write all kinds of stuff for folks. And I just kind of got into it. But I remember going to a luncheon. This was after graduation. I also knew I didn't want to be in the corporate world. I couldn't do that. Everybody was dressed alike. Everybody goes to, they come at 9, go to work, go to lunch at 12, go home at 5. It was like, that's insanity to me. So
Mhm.
I didn't want to, I didn't want to do that. But I think it just kind of aligned. I went to a luncheon for Benetton. Do you remember the brand Benetton, the clothing
Yeah,
brand?
yeah.
Khalif Young, longtime friend of mine, and he took me to this luncheon for Benetton, and I met Mike Lane from Mark's Lane, and we talked, and I told him, I said, I've just graduated, and blah blah blah. He says, well, come in tomorrow or whatever. So I did. That was my first official PR
Wow.
position, and then after that, I received an appointment about a year later. In the city of Highland Park. And that's where my career pretty much set at the intersection between politics and
Mhm,
communications.
mhm, it was. I mean, Benetton, I think, was a Black-owned clothing
Mm-mm.
store.
No,
No?
they weren't. They weren't black owned.
Okay. I
Mm-mm.
know
But
that
they were
that
huge.
at a certain point in time, then you kinda niche down and really doing a lot in what they call the multicultural market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so multicultural marketing was a thing early in the 90s and that sort of
Yep.
thing, and then target market, black market, and then I guess it's different reiterations of what it's called now. So who is your ideal client now? Who do you work with mostly now?
My clients now are organizations of mid to large size that seek strategic stability and excellence, and they are willing to start that process from within. A lot of times, and I know you know this, Pam, people have an idea or they're doing something, they're like, oh, I want to get on television. I want to be on the, I want me. Okay, well, let's hold on. Let's look at what you're doing internally. Do you have the capacity if you get additional attention and your phone is ringing and everybody wants to order or do whatever? Are you ready for that? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the things that people want to achieve, they have to achieve based on internal changes first.
Mm-hmm.
And the clients, I mean, I have clients, organizations, banks, I mean, they understand the value of good strategic communications
Mm-hmm.
internally and externally.
And so when I'm dealing with authors and speakers that are a
Mm-hmm.
personal brand, it's almost like a mini celebrity in a
Mm-hmm.
way. I say that from a standpoint because authors were seen as once as celebrities, and speakers that are on stage, they got a microphone, they're celebrities, so they're personal brand. But
Right.
before you can become that major speaker, whether it's a Les Brown or things like that, there
Mm-hmm.
are things that you need to do about your brand. And so many times people say, well, you know, such and such, can you just call them and put me on their station? Can you put me
Mm-hmm.
on their program, put me on their magazine, that sort of thing. And it's a stair step approach to it. And if I put someone on, say, a major television station when they're not ready, what's going to happen is that they will crumble.
Mm-hmm.
One, they won't have the capacity for the attention because their back end isn't together. Or two, they don't have the media training. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many things that when it comes to media training that people have to understand that it's more than just talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's in sound bites. And then one of the things when I teach people, I said, when you are doing an interview, give it time for the interviewer to ask you a question because I'm dealing with speakers. So they want to just like run with it. It's like you've got to give the interviewer some time to ask some questions. And then don't punctuate every end of your sentence with,
Fillers
or the other filler is right.
or
The ums. We can't do the ums. Okay. If you over 45, we need to get rid of the ums. I'm just like, we gotta get rid of the ums.
But
You
it's
gotta
but it's a but it's a nervous habit, and people are also uncomfortable with silence.
yeah.
So if in fact the interviewer, and all interviewers are not necessarily their best either, so they may not ask the question that you'd like for them to ask, which is why you teach your clients bridging. But it's
It's a science. It's a
it
science.
is. It's a science, but understanding too that there's the human factor in it. And so people are nervous. They're on television, they're watching the camera instead of watching. There's a lot to it. And the best thing for them to do is to do it, to practice and get comfortable with it.
Yes. And the best way to tell people to practice is practice small rather than going large. You're not going to even probably get large, but practice small. Practice maybe doing podcasts, uh, practice doing smaller markets, practice at doing radio stations that are smaller radio stations, things like that, that practice it and then watch yourself
Or
after that
listen.
and listen to yourself and improve what you're hearing and ask for feedback from other people, not just your fan club, not just, snap, crackle, and pop that just think everything you do is good, but
Right.
ask for real feedback from people. And that is really, really key. The thing that bugs me the most when people are looking for PR is that they think it's so easy that the pitch, you could just, I got a book, pitch my book. Okay, there's a gazillion books in the world. Why would they write about your book or want to talk about your book when there's a gazillion books out in the world? So what's different about you? Is it timely? Okay, you're writing about love and maybe it's better for Valentine's Day or maybe Sweetest Day or it's a whole lot of things that have to do with it. Every single month has some kind of association to it, like
Into
October
it,
is
right.
Breast Cancer Aware Month, May was Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're trying to strategically give people some advice. And they think sometimes, at least with me anyway, Karen, they think I'm like fighting their dreams. I'm like, I'm not fighting your dreams. I'm just trying to make sure that you're not out here looking crazy and that you're not blacklisted because you're always pitching something that is like off. It's like going to a party and you're talking about something that it's like it's off. So how do you advise clients to roll back and say, okay, we're going to start here and move here without making them feel like you're throwing water on their dreams?
Well, let me say this. I have never taken every client that has come to me, that every opportunity. I try to use my better judgment. I'm not a good fit for everybody, and everybody's not a good fit for me. So I have been very fortunate that my clients understand what it is that I do, how that I do it, and they understand the process. So I don't really have a lot of issues with clients not accepting my recommendations. I start out by figuring out what do they want out of the ordeal, out of the
Mhm,
engagement, and let's work backwards from there. If this is your
mhm.
goal, what are the things that we need to do to achieve that? I actually hate doing publicity. And if you remember at one time, that was 95% of what we all did. I actually don't particularly care for it anymore. I don't, because it's too time consuming, it's too detailed. Most people on the other end don't handle their business the way that I just don't have the mental or emotional bandwidth for
Bandwidth.
that. I just
Mhm,
don't. So, if in fact, or when I have a client that has substantive content, then it's an easy placement. And that's always something too. I don't have to do a hard sell because it makes sense.
mhm.
And so I don't have that. I don't, and I'm thankful that I don't. I couldn't do what you do because I couldn't deal with the personalities. I couldn't deal with the egos or the insecurities. I just couldn't do it. Maybe once upon a time, I just can't do it. So I don't.
You said something right there. You said it's an easy sell or it's a hard sell. So people have to realize this is what a publicist's job is. We're part of the media, so we have to be journalists really in a way. We have to understand producers and reporters and editors and things like that. So and we have to write well. So we know that part of the media. But then the other part is we have the client. And so we have the marketing end of making sure that their products that we're promoting get
Mhm.
sold or they move the needle. But in between that client and the media, we're the person that's selling you, meaning like we're selling the idea to either feature
Right.
you, selling the idea to put you on the magazine cover. We're selling you to get you to be the MC at this event, to throw the first ball out at the Detroit Tigers. We're selling you. So we have to, but if you have stuff that is good and what I call like juicy, it ain't gonna be scandalous, but just juicy, something that is like, oh, this is newsworthy,
Mhm.
then it's easy to sell you, to actually put you on, to actually give you the stage, give you the microphone. But if your what I say, your back end is raggedy. When I say raggedy, this is what I'm gonna say. So I'm not saying any names here. If you don't have good headshots, when they ask for a good headshot and you sending them a self seatbelt selfie from the car,
So,
okay. If you don't have a website and it's just something that you just threw up, it's like last week GoDaddy's special, okay. If we don't have a video of you that is not shaking, it's like, well, that's a picture of me speaking. It's like, oh, okay, well, who did you get a camera to? Your child. Those are things. Or then across social media, you're known as 5 different people. You got
right.
this name, you got that name. And I was like, and then you have raggedy. The most raggedy thing is that you don't have a branded email. Okay, you have an AOL, you have a Yahoo. That matters. And people say, well, why does that matter? It does. It
Yeah.
matters. You don't have
It
a
does.
branded email.
Because perception matters. And you're talking about presentation. But I'll tell you this, when you talk about how things have changed, standards have gone down. They really have gone down. I would never imagine hearing people in the media speak as grammatically incorrect as they do, and that it's okay. I hear elected officials. I see people in positions, and I'm thinking nobody is looking at this. Nobody's raising their eyebrows. People don't follow up. They don't follow through. It's very different. But you also have to look at a lot of, when you're talking about the publicity aspect, social media is the new media platform.
It is.
There was a young lady that did a video, she did a TikTok about something that was a news story. So a lot of producers, reporters, they pull from social media, and people know it. So it's a lot different today. It's a lot different.
Let me tell you, my daughter Aubrey was pulled from social media and got on GMA
Mm-hmm.
on the Good Morning
Yep.
America show
Yep.
from a
It happens.
TikTok that went viral for
Well,
something. She was talking in her car about something, and I'm like, "What?" And
and
she
you would
didn't
have
know.
never imagined that.
She didn't know that that her clip was pulled and put on GMA until someone said they saw it. So they don't even have to ask your permission if you put it on social media. They can just put it up there.
Yeah,
And I was like,
because it's
"Oh,
out there, and that's the thing, and that's what people have to understand, that when you do, and I did a presentation for a client about navigating today's communication landscape. How do you remain relevant with so many voices and so many, and people shy away from social media. Social media is actually the best free marketing platform that exists, but you have to know how to use it. And people
thank
say,
you."
"Oh, well, I don't want everybody to know my business." Okay, then don't tell them. Like, there's nothing on there that will be on there unless you put it on. But people don't understand. Like, we don't have to know what you ate. We don't have to know what kind of shoes you wear. I mean, what
We don't
are
have to know
you?
where you are, where you're going on vacation. We don't
How
need to
are
know
you
all
using this to build your brand?
that.
That's all. That's all. How are you doing? So, and that's fine. People do travel and they share. I get it. But it has to be consistent with the brand parameters that you and either your publicist or your communications person has defined, and that you're going to align everything that you do with those pillars.
That is it. And being consistent, being congruent. So don't talk about your book on one day and you're talking about it for maybe a week or two straight about pieces of your book. And then the next thing you're talking about, uh, what you're baking for a party. And then you're going to talk about another event that has nothing to do with it. And so that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Like, your messaging has to be congruent. And
Consistent, right?
so many times people are putting out there, "Oh, I just felt like posting this. I felt like posting that." And it's fine. You can post whatever you want. But just if you go back and look at it as a strategic, what was the messaging? If someone were to stop on one of your posts, like, do they really know what you do? And that's one of the things. Portia Lockett says, "Hey, ladies."
Okay,
She
Dr.
said,
Portia.
"Business and shine, ladies, shine." So yeah, so she's a person that is very congruent and consistent about what she's doing about her
But
foundation, the
what
Age
she
Lebanon Market
is,
Foundation.
what she
Hmm.
is sincere, and that is
Yeah,
her key aspect. She is who she is. These are the things that she stands for. These are the things that
mhm,
she fights for. This is where her area of interest and expertise lie, and that becomes who she is. So it's sincere. It's built in sincerity.
that is authenticity, sincerity.
Yep.
And I always tell people that people can tell, at least I can tell, I mean, for sure, but people can tell when someone is fake. And so a lot of times when people say, "Well, I just want to AI has just made a whole lot of stuff and made people lose their mind and go crazy. But I just want to put a video out there, but I don't want to be in it." And I could just tell, Karen, when I'm looking at the videos, I was like, that's not even that person. And I don't even have to know the person. I could just
Yeah.
tell their lips are moving different with the
Hmm.
AI machine, what they would be saying. I'm thinking like, oh my God, we have created some monsters.
We have. I mean, and you have to ask yourself at this point, what's real anymore? You don't know who or what is real anymore. Social media is all about, keeping up an image, and people are doing stuff. You saw the lady, she was doing a TikTok, and she was using a filter, and she moved out of the frame, and you could see how and people were, I mean, just be who you are. That's all I'm saying. Just be who you are. I mean, a
Oh,
lot of the bells and whistles, whatever, just be who you are. That's the
yeah.
best advice I can give.
People appreciate that. So if people are really wanting to pitch something, like if they were to pitch something to you, whether you have a column or you are you doing any kind of freelance, maybe something like as a freelance writer for something, what what are the type of things that you would look for?
Again,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity in who you are and what you're representing. Does it make sense? And I don't trivialize smaller projects that people do. I just That's just not something that I do. And if it doesn't feel right to me, then I can't do it. So I try to think about things on a larger scale in terms of impact and importance to the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
Is this informative? Will this be inspirational, engaging? Will it make a difference? So it's not just about this person selling whatever they're trying to sell. What is it that can move the needle for the greater good?
I
That's
love
what I
that.
try to look at.
I love that. But move the needle for the greater good.
Yep.
So I would love for us to continue to talk and do more sessions like this. I don't know if I could pull you into like a monthly podcast or doing therapy.
Just call me or email me and I'll
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
on.
Yes, because I miss hearing you on the radio. You were on every single day, and it's just always just a good voice to hear you. But
Thank
doing a
you.
podcast, doing this kind of thing would be really, really cool for us to do. Even if we did it once a month or even once a quarter,
Just
we'll just
call
see
me
how.
whenever you're anything for you, Pam. You have been just a phenomenal force and voice for Black people, especially Black women, in this space for so long. I don't see how you're not tired by now, but I certainly applaud and appreciate the fact that you aren't. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, one of the things I really enjoy pushing, promoting, helping people achieve their dreams, helping them shape what it is that the vision that God has given them, and then me just helping them push it further. That's, into the marketplace. That's really like my calling. I can do it for other things. I've done it for organizations and things like that, but it's really those African American men and women who feel like they're called to make a difference, and then they just don't know how to market it and how to promote it. And it's like, okay, I got you. If you're really, like you said, if they're really sincere
Yep.
and they're willing to do the work, because it does take some work.
But it's
I have a
it's
magic
an
wand over
investment.
here, but the magic wand is just really just a toy.
But it's an investment too. People have to understand that. So, I mean, you are a business person and you bring a skill set to the table. Same
Mhm.
thing if they go to a restaurant, there's a chef. You pay for that chef to prepare your meal. What we do may look easy, but it's what we do for a living. So, and I used to always say, American Express and Mercedes Benz don't take thank yous. We have to get paid too. So, like,
That's so true.
so don't trivialize it.
That is so true. I had someone on the phone the other day, and once I gave them my fee, they quickly got off. It's like, okay, well, thank you very much. I was like,
And I understand people right now, there are people that are they're trying to make it. They're trying to elevate. I get it. Some people are trying to succeed. Some people are trying to survive. I respect that. But at the same time, maybe this level of expertise is not aligned with them. There are people that are at an entry level that would be more than happy to try to help them out. So a no from you or them not being able to afford you is just an opportunity for them to go talk to somebody else.
yeah, yeah. Or the other thing I said, if you either have to spend money or time, so you got to spend the time because you don't have the money. And so if you don't have the money, then I would say, well, you're going to learn. It took us a few decades to learn something, and it may take us maybe 15, 20 minutes to do, but that's because of 20 years plus of doing the reps. Whereas someone else is like, okay, well, it's going to take me a little bit longer to figure that out because I
Yeah.
have not been doing it. So it's either one. You're either going
Well,
to
I
exchange
always
money.
say too, I don't, my value is because it's not a matter of how long it takes me, it's the impact of what I do.
Yes,
So it may take me 2 seconds, but the value of what those 2 seconds will do for you and what you're trying to do. So you can't measure it in like, we
we
aren't
don't go by the
punching
hour. Yeah,
things.
we don't go
Well,
by the
yeah,
hour.
no,
Yeah,
no, I'm
because
not
we
doing
can make
that.
a connection with someone, and that can be a game changer for them for a lifetime. It's just
And
that one
trust me, I
connection of someone
think
that we
about that as
introduce you to.
well. Yep.
That is so true. So Karen, thank you so much. We are right at 29, 40 seconds, 46 seconds. So I know that I want to be on time with you, girl. So
All right.
thank you so much for joining us
All right.
today.
Talk to
God
you
bless
soon.
you.
Thanks.
All
You
right,
too.
bye-bye.
Thank you, Pam.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com, where you help you shine like a superstar.